Release the Kraken.
Finally, the Detroit Red Wings lost a game. Not the end of the world, but it was definitely a very one-sided affair. Good morning, Hockey Nation Live fans. This is your Detroit Red Wings update for Wednesday, October the 26th. And last night, the Detroit Red Wings lose to the New Jersey Devils 6-2. This was an interesting matchup between New Jersey's goalie Vanacek, who came over from the Washington Capitals, and Nedeljkovic of the Red Wings. To say the least, I think New Jersey won the goaltending battle. It was an unfortunate end to what was an undefeated beginning of the season. They are now 3-1-2 in a very, very crazy Atlantic in the NHL. What can you say? It was eventually going to happen. New Jersey was actually coming off of playing the prior night, and I thought maybe they'd be a little tired and things would work out in Detroit's favor. That did not happen. If you're joining us today or if you're watching this, you will know that 6-2 was a very one-sided game. Although Detroit started off quickly, New Jersey pretty much dominated every single period. Nedeljkovic was not up to the task last night. And I think this is going to happen, not necessarily blow out, but I think just Andrei Nedeljkovic is just inconsistent enough to be a bit of a problem. And at some point, you're going to see Husso taking over more and more. And long term, you got to hope that Sebastian Casa is ready. Good morning, Clom Sauce. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Let's go Red Wings. Octopus agreed. But last night was just not the night for the Devil or for the Red Wings versus the Devils. So pretty much New Jersey won every single period. 2-1, 2-0, 2-1, resulting in a 6-2 loss. Pretty clear what happened last night. Yeah, what can you say? It was bound to happen. The good news is that Dominik Kubalik continues to be an amazing offseason acquisition. And we'll see that in his stats. But, you know, Larkin got the first goal last night from Dominik Kubalik and Adam Ernie, which is an interesting line combination. I don't know. I guess Ernie moved up. We're not seeing a lot of great things yet from Lucas Raymond. You might even say he's struggling, which, you know, he kind of finished the season poorly last year, and that seems to be carrying over. I thought he had a decent camp, but it wasn't overwhelming. So I was kind of curious. And I think I said in the season preview, yeah, I think Nedeljkovic has had 2 starts back-to-back with flat starts. Agreed. I thought Husso was a better tender, but I don't think he's been night and day between the two. I agree. I think just what's going to happen is Husso just seems to be a little bit more in it, gives them a little bit more of a chance. And I think you're going to see just by the end of the year that he'll probably play 9 more games than Nedeljkovic, 10. And whether they bring up another goalie will be interesting as long as they're both healthy. Good morning, Kelly. Thank you for joining. Yeah, we all picked the Red Wings last night. I thought for sure the Red Wings would have taken advantage of the fact that New Jersey was on back-to-back. Agreed. But that did not work out that way, unfortunately. Pretty one-sided. Razor's getting harassed out there. He has talent, and the league is aware. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a really talented player. You're correct. I think obviously long-term he's going to be in good shape. right now he looks like he's out to lunch. I think he's got 2 assists on the season, and I think he got bumped last night from the top line. The Rasmussen, Sundqvist, like the Redwoods line and Soderblom line started the game again, and they continue to be very effective overall. But I think the biggest news is Kubalik. Like Kubalik has now got 10 points on the season. Did he get $1 million or $1.5 million? Like this is a guy at Chicago let go for nothing, right? So Detroit grabbing him. This is a great pickup. And I agree. Raymond will get it going. Good morning, Danny and Hockey Nation. Thank you, Danny, for joining. Appreciate it. But this was definitely all New Jersey last night. Dawson Mercer tied the game up quickly. Well, not quickly, but in the first from Marino and Graves, the defenseman. So that was 1-1 in the first. And then Jack Hughes put New Jersey ahead, never to really look back. Hughes, by the way, looks great. I mean, this is a great player. He's just going to get better and better. This is our modern day Patrick Kane, I think. He's just going to get better and better. And this is great news for New Jersey fans. Eric Hall looks very good. And Jesper Bratt, who missed a lot of camp and signed his contract, gets his 9th assist, guys. Holy smokes. But he didn't stop there. Then he got his 2nd goal of the year. So 11 points. Like, what the heck? Jesper Bratt rewarding them big time. We know he's speedy. And the Blackhawks are crazy, but look at the Blackhawks clump. They are 4-0 in their last 4 games. What's going on in Chicago? We'll have to talk about that. Sharon Govich continues to play well for New Jersey, getting his 2nd of the season. At that point, it was just, 4-1 for New Jersey. In the third, Kubalik got on the board with his 4th. So Kubalik is turning out very, very good for Detroit. Inexpensive pickup. That's his 10th points of the season. Nico Hischier gets his 3rd. So, he was hurt again, which I'm really worried about his health all the time, from Tatar. And Jesper Bratt finishes it off, making it 6-2 with his 3rd of the season. So, Bratt now has 12 points on the season. They're going to be very, very happy. This guy busted through last year, and he's not looking back. The Bruins will get our best game of the year. Yeah, I think the reality is the Bruins are in first place for a reason. I think they're on a 3-game winning streak, and they're looking really good. Good morning, Callie. What scenario will Berggren get play time? Should he ask for a transfer? Absolutely not. Berggren is hurt. So in the AHL, Berggren took a very, very bad hit and went into the boards. We know he's got concussion issues. I suspect that he is out with a concussion issue. Maybe not. He walked off the ice himself, but he is not playing right now. So I think given the poor play of Filip Zadina and the absence of, you're missing Bertuzzi, you're missing Vrana, who's indefinitely out. I think normally you would have seen Berggren come up. But, right now they got a lot of depth. Good morning, Danny. Are you going to have to hype Nick for all the time you tease him about the Hawks? Yeah, you know what? Honestly, Hawks look good. Credit to Luke Richardson because he's doing it with, Max Domi's on the team. He's playing really well. Stalock in net played great last night. He had a .938 save percentage. 4 games in a row. Great coaching. Good morning, Stephen G. Thank you for joining. Kelly and Danny in the chat, and Steve G and Kelly from Danny. So I appreciate everybody jumping on. He's out right now. If everyone's healthy, Zadina would lose that spot to Berggren. I agree, Clump Sauce, because Zadina, I've been pulling for Zadina. You can see the talent was obvious. I thought he had a very good camp. He looked very, very dangerous. He immediately was sat out by the coach. And we see how Derek Lalonde really cares about puck management, being on the right side of the puck. And he does not like the risk-taking behavior of Zadina, no matter what his talent level looks like. And that might have taken the steam out of Zadina offensively, because I thought, man, he was really clicking with Vrana. But now Vrana, we know, is out. Zadina's doing nothing. Lucas Raymond's struggling. They could really use Jonathan Berggren, but he's not able to come up. He's still hurt, so no, I'm not clear. Mrazek, yeah, well, I guess that didn't work out too well. But overall, in the end, we have better goaltending than Mrazek, so I think it'll be fine in the future. How about Georgiev outperforming Shesterkin? That was surprising to me. I'm not convinced that Georgiev is a number 1 goalie in the NHL, but he's on a very, very strong team, the Stanley Cup champions. He's younger than their prior goalie, Darcy Kemper, and nobody thought Kemper was, a superstar goalie. But I think people take away a lot of credit from Kemper, and he was very solid and a reason they won the cup. But Georgiev, I'm not convinced is that guy. I gave him all kinds of excuses. Yeah, Zadina is looking like a bust, guys. It's really sad. I hope it's not the case because he looked really good in the camp. I was really excited about his camp, and they're just not going to put up with that. Yeah, Avs played incredibly well against the Blue Shirts. So the Rangers, I mean, if we look at the standings in the Atlantic, it's crazy over there, right? Like I was just looking at this, and I mean, this is kind of nutty, actually. Let's see if we can pull it up. If you look at the standings, so the Eastern, pretty darn competitive, but this is like Death Alley. Like Detroit is 3-1-2, guys. 8 points in 6 games is 667. They're in 5th. So we've seen great play from Buffalo. Ottawa won 4 in a row suddenly. They went from 7th to 3rd. That's how tight it is. Florida last night losing to Chicago. Now, Chicago, 4th in a row. I've been saying this all along, though. I'm not like a huge Paul Maurice fan. He's kind of like a 500, just a little bit better than 500 coach career. I think Florida is better than this, but we're going to see what happens. 21-21, that's super average. Boston being the big story this year, and not great news at Detroit. They've had kind of an easy schedule up till now, and now they're going to face the big bad Bruins. Legitimately, Boston is the top dog. 3 wins in a row, 6-1 in their last 10, 12 points out of 14 on the season, 857. They are clicking under Jim Montgomery. A 10-goal differential is no slouch. So we're going to see. Tomorrow night's a big game for Detroit. We will see how they do against a very, very tough Boston team. Vegas, 6-2, great start. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't be surprised about Vegas. Phil Kessel hit his milestone last night. So I don't know if you saw that Phil Kessel has the new Ironman milestone. It was weird enough that Keith Yandel had the milestone. But for Phil Kessel to have the Ironman, I mean, this is the guy that's the poster boy for eating hot dogs on the bench. Like, not that he actually did, but pretty much. Like, come on, give me a break. How does Phil Kessel and Keith Yandel have 1 and 2 in the Ironman streak? I guess it's so weird. Leafs and Matthews are on a downside. There's something wrong. Well, the goaltending is a big problem. The Matt Murray decision is already blown up. He hasn't even gotten through 1 game without being injured. The other goalie, Kallgren, hasn't really, shown that he can have a regular workload. Samsonov's been very good. His numbers are really good, and they're going to have to kind of ride him. But I think, and I predicted this before, that they would have to get another goalie because I just don't see the Matt Murray thing working out, and they're better without him. Nick Robertson's looked very good. We know they're not a good defensive team, Kelly, and that's part of the problem. And then you throw in shaky goaltending on top of it. Not great. Bruins, Caps, Rangers, Islanders in the next 5 games. So Detroit, you're right, Clump Sauce, going to have a very, very tough schedule. And can you believe 990 consecutive games? You got to think he's going to get to 1,000 and shatter this record. There's no reason to pull him out. Vegas likes him. He's a good fit there. Vegas is clicking on all cylinders under Bruce Cassidy. Not shocking. This guy's a great coach. Tampa at the bottom is bizarre, though, right, Steve? They didn't have a really active exhibition, which is normal. I mean, they went deep again in the playoffs, right? They've been in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row. They kind of need some time off. I believe in the end they'll be there, but it's not going to be easy. That division is really tough. And Danny agreed, hype to Kessel. I'm not a big Phil Kessel fan. Many stories about him, that including ones that I witnessed, where he's just not a put-together guy, and yet he's got the Ironman. He's still a great skater. He's still got really high skill. Maybe the Red Wings staying 1 year in Vegas. I don't know. I don't think he should be in Detroit. That would drive me nuts. I don't think I could deal with it. Samsonov's doing good, but we need to back him up. You need another goalie because Samsonov has never played more, I think, than 35 games in a season. But he's a young goalie. He's big. He looks really good in the net to me. Muzzin is out for a while, and that does not help. Although Muzzin was kind of a turnover machine in the games that I saw. So, there's some problems still with that defense, and it's just the overall defensive play in Toronto that's the problem. Yeah. Well, I hope not. I don't like. Please don't put Phil Kessel in Detroit. That is not what we want. This is the guy where he's not a dedicated physical specimen of a guy. Well, Patrick Kane, we keep saying this, like, first of all, Chicago, if they're in the playoffs, you're not moving Kane and Taves. Taves is playing very well. He got his 3rd goal of the season, and Patrick Kane is still like a top 7 player in the NHL, I would say. I mean, if you look at his numbers, it's crazy. And he hasn't even really hit his stride yet. And they're getting good performances from other, bit players that are fighting for jobs long term, and they're looking good. They're looking pretty solid. Luke Richardson has them playing very well. So, I mean, I think, anyways, this kind of drives me nuts, the Phil Kessel thing. If we look at Detroit, though, if we get back to that, first of all, Nedeljkovic faces not exactly a little bit of rubber. 41 shots is not part of Derek Lalonde's plan. And we've seen they've done a much better job of puck management, and that's why they've been successful. Not last night. They were no match for the speedier, dialed in New Jersey Devils. An .854 save percentage, not great, but either is 41 shots. So there's lots of blame to go around. You can see, the minutes on the D were pretty high there. It's kind of interesting. But it's really spread out between the top 4. But even like the 3rd pairing with Lindstrom and Hag, they were -1. The Roenick-Mata thing not working out last night, as great as it has been, but in the end, lots of blame to go around. And we really need to see Lucas Raymond's best game yet. So Thursday is the matchup between the Bruins and Detroit. Bruins coming in super hot. Detroit, obviously, a little bit of a letdown. Good morning, Jose. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you jumping in the chat. Danny's saying hi to Jose, so that is all good news. The real story here, and I don't think I have it up. Let's see if we can share it. For me, though, is this story of Dominik Kubalik. And I think we're going to look back, or someone's going to look back and go, why the heck would Chicago let this guy go? I mean, they let go DeBrincat, and they got a little bit of a return. They got nothing for Kubalik. And he has 10 points in 6 games, and he's big, he's fast, we see his shot, and he's taking advantage of the extra ice time that he has. Dylan Larkin's playing well. I've kind of said, I don't know if I see him as a number 1 center, but he's certainly playing like a number 1 center, and he's been an excellent captain so far. We know that David Perron signing has turned out really well so far, as has Mata. Sundqvist looking very good. I mean, I don't think he's better than I thought, but him playing with Rasmussen and Soderblom's been great. Okay, so there's lots working out here, but we are missing a lot. Like right now, Raymond's missing in action. Bertuzzi's out probably for a while, and we have no idea if Verana's coming back. Berggren's injured in the minors, and Zadina. So we really need the top of this lineup continue to play like the top. We've seen nothing, frankly, from Andrew Copp. This was the big offseason signing, and here we go. I thought Roenick was playing very well, to be honest with you, before this game. Last night was not great for him, but overall, he's looked very good, and I think his pairing with Mata has been excellent. So I got to think, I think that is a Detroit Lions jersey, right? That's a little interesting. I was wondering what that was, but is that like a mashup? I got to assume that's a mashup. It looks like the Nordiques with actually the colors, right? I didn't realize the Nordiques and the Lions have the same colors. Interesting. Not enough offense from him to offset the bad D play. Well, you can count on Roenick for 35, 40 points, and you're right. He has been a career minus player, which that's what I said in the offseason too. Like, the guy was a minus 38 career, but you can see he's a +3. This is probably the first time he's been a plus. He's got to stick to that game that he adopted. Go Lions. I think the Lions are pretty decent right now, aren't they? I don't know. No bandwagons. I'm from Detroit. Teams are my teams. Are the Lions any good? I don't even know. I don't really follow football. The Pistons lost last night. Again, I didn't watch them. I haven't watched them in a long time. Are they any good? Copp missed all of camp. That is true. The injury in camp is probably affecting him. So far, though, this signing has not worked out. Does he need time? Hopefully, he breaks out and gets some points. He's only got 2 assists on the season. He's playing okay, but he is definitely not in midseason form. The Lions colors, logo on Bertuzzi. Got it. I like it. That's an interesting mashup there. The Wagons got banned in Detroit. I don't know. All right. So how long is Bertuzzi out? They said 4 to 6 weeks. So we're probably, like a week and a half into that. Jose is picking the Bruins tonight. Yeah, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. It's a broken hand. Okay, so that's right, because he took that shot, if you saw in the game, and it looked like he was favoring his arm. I didn't even check if it was hand or his wrist. Danny's calling 6-3 for the Bruins. So I think Husto's in net, so that'll be interesting. And we're gonna find out a lot about this Detroit team. Yes, they're missing a lot of firepower. Will they turn it around after a bad game against New Jersey and get the shots down below 30 shots? That's going to be really key. They got to get back to playing, aggressive on the puck. But if the Bruins are too quick for them, that's what we're going to find out about this team. Are the Red Wings quick? Against the New Jersey Devils, they did not look quick. New Jersey had played the night before. So it's kind of interesting to see. Do the Bruins play tonight? That's a good question. I think they do. Just take a look at tonight's schedule. Well, tonight, no, they don't play tonight. It's Rangers at Islanders, Edmonton at St. Louis. Edmonton's not really played great, and Tampa at Anaheim. So there are no Bruins games tonight, Kelly. Yeah, tomorrow, Detroit, on Thursday, Detroit plays against our friends in Boston. Wings 5-3. Listen, Bruins are in first for a reason. Bergeron's back. He's got 3 goals. Krejci's happy to be back in North America. The young guys are working out pretty well. They're clicking on all cylinders, and Jim Montgomery, this is his comeback. It would be nice to see Lucas Raymond, a.k.a. Razor, get his first. Good morning, Greg and John. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate it. Okay, 7-3 for the Bruins. Okay, I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I'm hoping Detroit gets back to a little tighter style of game, and they get a little bit of offense from someone not named Larkin or Kubalik. And that's what they need. They need to kind of get Perron back in the mix. Although, the guy's got 4 goals in 6 games. He's kind of like a little streaky historically. So hopefully it's not a dry spell for him. We've got to see Soderblom's a -3. So that's not good. That's not going to endear him to Lalonde. Although they are, starting the game is pretty indication he trusts Sundqvist, Rasmussen. It would be nice to see a Veleno in there, but more importantly, I think Andrew Kopp has got to get going for Detroit. Good morning, ENORTAP. Thank you so much for joining. I do not have any sound effects, but if I did, I would give you a sound effect right now. One day I will figure that part out. Let's take a look at the matchup tomorrow night, which we will recap on Friday. We won't do a live on Friday, but we will put out a recap of Detroit versus Boston. So let's see if we can share that. Okay, so we know Pastrnak playing terrific. He is such a talented player. They're doing all this without Brad Marchand. But, leading the way is definitely the goaltending has been very good from Linus Ullmark, 5-0. He's been carrying the load. Not a great start from Jeremy Swayman. So I'm not sure who's starting this game. I assume that Ville Husso would start. Nedeljkovic's definitely not been good for Detroit overall. 1-1-1, 396 and 890. Contrast that with a 2-0-1, 2 goal against, 1 shutout, 939 save percentage of Husso. And this is why I said at the beginning of the year, I think Husso is going to get more and more of the workload. +4 for Hampus Lindholm. I think he's got 2 or 3 goals already. So Lindholm's working out very well. Yeah, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points in 7 games. We never saw this type of offense from him in Anaheim. You always thought that he would have it, but it never really came out. DeBrusk continuing where he was from last year, getting 5 points in 6 games. But the big story is Patrice Bergeron. Oh, he got his 4th. Geez. 4 goals and 3 assists, +6. The perennial Selke Trophy candidate, playing very well offensively. Nick Foligno having a bounce back, getting 3 goals after an absolutely terrible year last year and looking like, is this guy's career over? And they got big-time goals from Taylor Hall, so everybody's clicking here. Like 4 goals in 7 games from Taylor Hall, that's very good. Krejci at -3, that's really un-Krejci-like, but he does have 8 points in 7 games, so that means he's like -11. That's a little weird. But Pasternak, man. Pasternak is the story. 12 points, 7 games, 5 goals, and 7 assists. This guy's a monster. Okay, Pasternak, super, super talented. Pavel Zacha's been Pavel Zacha, you know, like when you look at the Montreal first overall draft pick, I always compare him to Pavel Zacha. So when you look at Slafkovsky, I've always said this is what you're probably getting. Tell me I'm wrong. Very deep defensive team. Lindholm leading the way offensively. They do have 4 points from Clifton. He's a smaller offensive guy, and he's missed some time there. But Linus Allmark working out very well. Swayman not so much. So it'll be interesting to see him get back in. And they're doing this all without Charlie McAvoy and Brad Marchand. So credit to Jim Montgomery. Credit to the veterans coming back in. Good morning, ENORTAP again from everybody jumping in. Danny saying hi. Klomsauce jumping in there. Soderblom needs time in the AHL to mature a bit more. I don't know. He looks fine. I don't think he does. He's 21. He's got no physical gains there. He's a little bit of a minus player, but he's getting important minutes. He's really useful in front of the net. I think that he is very good every night overall, and he'll get better. Berggren, absolutely right now, I think if he was not hurt, would be in the NHL given what's going on with the Detroit lineup. Jose saying hi to ENORTAP. Lalone, I got to say, I was, kind of like a little bit, one part of me was disappointed they didn't go with like a veteran coach, but at the same time, as we speculate, it's like he's looking for the next John Cooper, and I think he's got it. You see him, he's very good in the press conference. He's a little bit stoic. He's very consistent. He has a very defined way that he wants them to play, and he's evaluating very, very detailed how the players play. And he was right. Like, he was right about Zadina. He's like, no, he doesn't manage the puck properly. Pia Suter comes in and played very well defensively for him, and he just has a very defined way that he wants this team to play. And he's consistent, and I think the power play is clicking. Jay Verade, former protege of Kevin Constantine. He's been in the AHL as a head coach, coached in Kingston in the OHL, former Everett Silvertip. On the bench. Love to see that for Detroit Red Wings, seeing Jay Verade. That's so great. Is this a regular thing, 11 a.m.? Yeah. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're doing this show. What happened to Marchand? He was hurt coming into the season. I don't even think he was in camp. Did he have surgery? I have to look up, but he's not expected back for a little while. Yeah, he was going to start in Grand Rapids. I don't see anything with Soderblom that NKT needs to go to Grand Rapids, unless his confidence dips. But he's a big guy. He's got great hands. He's effective around the net, and he's playing a very good third line role. He's protected there, and he's such a good player. I don't see that they would be in good shape without him. Pasta is awesome. So Pasternak is excellent player. I don't know who looks like Pinocchio, but everybody, I'm glad everybody's in there. Can't believe the bad luck for Verona. Well, I want to know what this is. Like everybody, Verona had, was injured last year. Is this a painkiller issue? Because he's gone into the NHL, assistance program. Is this something that existed before? Because, he came from Washington. And I always kind of joke about it, but I think it's a real problem in Washington with the Russian party machine. And maybe this is something that he's dealing with that's on that level. It's hard to say, but he does not look like he's coming back anytime soon, guys. So it's just not great news for Detroit. Bertuzzi is the awful thing. Like the injury to Bertuzzi does not help him. This is the leading goal scorer for the team for, I don't know, 2 of the last 3 years. Detroit, New Jersey, Ottawa, and Buffalo. It's interesting, ENORTAP. Like Detroit's had a great start. New Jersey was a little slower, but they picked it up of late. So they've been very good. Ottawa, 4-game winning streak, is that right? And they jumped from 7th to like 3rd in that division. And Buffalo looks very solid. So they're all doing it in a little bit different way. New Jersey's got a mix, like they picked up Palat. You see the maturation of Hughes. Sharon Govich is in there, and he's been very good. I was surprised at the Ty Smith move, but it's worked out. Marino's been very good for them. And the goalie move in Vanacek's been very good. So that, not very good. It's been okay. It's helped them. So they've done it with goaltending. They've strengthened every position. They still have a ways to go, New Jersey. I don't think they're a playoff team quite yet, but neither is Detroit, in my opinion. But so we're going to see their record even out. Ottawa, I think the big issue with Ottawa is the young defense, and I think they're still unknown in net. But offensively on the forward lines, I mean, DeBrincat was a great pickup. Tkachuk is the captain of that team for a reason. He's excellent. Stützle's excellent. Pinto's really good. They got just so much depth on forward. Norris, there's a lot of weapons up there that they're fun to watch. And I thought DJ Smith would be gone, but they've kind of turned things around, so it looks like that's going to last. Good morning, Lucky. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate seeing you in the morning. Very impressed with the Kraken so far. They didn't look great in the beginning, but the last couple games, did they win 5-1? I don't know if I love seeing the Kraken super successful, but they had a big game. Did they win 5-1 or 5-2? It was something crazy against Buffalo, right? We know Buffalo's been very good. So they won 5-1. Calgary's been better than I thought, better than Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton has not been great. And I think the problem with Edmonton, definitely in the net, which is not good news because they made, the big splash getting Campbell. And I think you see from Stuart Skinner what he is. Vegas has been good. Okay, I want to talk about for a second, even though I know this is about the Detroit Red Wings update, the LA Kings. And again, this is a great story, I think, I've been just waiting for Gabe Vilardi. And man, he gets another goal last night. I don't know if you saw this goal, but it was a shot by Doughty from the point, and it was a tip high. So the puck was in the air, and he tipped it high over the goalie, over Vasilevsky's shoulder. It was a great high skill play. This guy around the net on the power play is very, very, very effective. He's big, but he's got great skill and hands. And I think he's really carving out a little niche for himself in LA. He got a goal and an assist last night. So this is where you want to see Gabe Vilardi. Gabe Vilardi and Cody Glass are both in the NHL. Both were very comparable in that draft year. Both have had a terrible start to their NHL career for different reasons. But Vilardi, man, this is what I've always expected from him. 9 points, 8 games. He's very capable, in my opinion, of being, I think he's been playing more wing, so maybe that's good with Dano and Kopitar taking pressure off of him. If he's a wing, that's great. If the center ice position was holding him back, LA needs scoring like anybody else. He's very good in the power play. He's a very talented player. He's got a great shot, 26% shot percentage. This is a great, great thing. Friedman talked about Verona on 32 Thoughts. He showed up to an interview and looked like he had just come from the bar, clothes all screwed up. So, this was the other possibility. It's one of two things, right? Was this a painkiller thing that came off of injury, or is this the carryover from the Russian party machine? And I was worried that was the problem, and that kind of sounds like it. I hope that this gets straightened out, because this is a super talented player. Is this why Washington moved on from him? Because they moved on from some pieces there, and it was kind of weird. But we know they've got a weird culture over the years where they've severely underachieved. And in the immortal words of Nicholas Backstrom when they won the Stanley Cup, look, we finally worked as hard as we partied, and look what happened. And there's a reason Barry Trotz didn't go back, right? He just never thought that discipline would stick. Now it sounds like painkillers because of the injuries. So I don't know. Is that what's happening? They haven't talked about it. We're kind of speculating. 11 likes. Thanks, guys. Hit the likes and subscribe. And thank you, Marco, for joining. I appreciate seeing you in the morning. The Sabres have started strong also. So to go back to ENORTAP's question, comparing Detroit, New Jersey, Ottawa, and Buffalo, we're seeing good stuff on the defense. Dahlin had a phenomenal start. We're seeing what his capabilities are, especially with a little bit stronger defense back there. I really like the coach in Buffalo. The goaltending's been pretty decent, and they got some weapons up front. So they're making progress. They're all making the Atlantic really competitive. I still think this sounds weird. I think Ottawa might still be ahead of all three, but not by much. It's very close between them. They'll probably all be very competitive for a wild card spot. And I got to think Tampa's going to leapfrog all of them at some point. That's kind of my feeling on this. And I don't know what's going on in Florida, except I don't know if I trust the coaching, and the goaltending is a little bit inconsistent. You're right. Senators are getting dialed in. There's a lot of talent there. I still think they have very young defense, and that's going to come back on them. And I'm not sure if the goaltending is amazing. Oh, let's see. They joke with him about it. Retrospect. Friedman felt bad because he didn't know he had a problem. Oof. Yeah, he looks rough. So that's not good. That was a bad look. And I feel that, that was always the Russian party machine, definitely not something that hopefully he can get that out of his system. Ottawa has Talbot injured. I agree. But, what's Talbot going to do when he comes in? It can't hurt, right? They need that 1-2 punch. Good morning, Luciano, of course. Why did you get rid of Campbell? Partying or just inconsistency? Why did Toronto get rid of Campbell? What was the reasoning there? Whew, that'll be tough if it is 5-1. Good morning to everybody. Velarde has many goals as Caulfield. Yeah, well, Velarde, I've been saying for a long time, and Pierre knows, I'm like, God, he had a great camp last year. And then he ended up in the AHL. And for him to be back, and he looks like he's in good shape. He had back injuries early on. There was kind of weirdness around the back injury and how it was being treated or not, or it was more about how he was dealing with the back injury. So maybe he's finally dialed in. It took a little while, but this is a big, talented player, and he's capable of a lot. I really think he's really good. Rasmussen over Velarde. I don't think that's a bummer. Rasmussen looks great. Velarde had a rough start to his career. I think Rasmussen's excellent. He's an excellent, talented player. There's not much difference between him and Velarde talent-wise. Velarde has had a lot of injury problems. Rasmussen's very healthy. He's become a very good skater, and he's got great hands. So I don't think this is a bad move by Detroit at all. That was a good draft pick. Velarde was who Montreal almost got for Pacioretty. Interesting. Contract extension didn't work out. That's really interesting. Montreal definitely got the better player in Suzuki overall, I think, still, though. He's had a better career to this point. Velarde, yes, 9 points in 8 games. I get it. But he's had a checkered history, where he's had a lot of injuries and a lot of inconsistency and up and down. Hopefully it sticks. Matthew's body language is telling me he already made his decision to leave the Leafs. That's saying a lot. What's different about his body language? Is his body language great? He's always been kind of and he's not scoring big time, but maybe that's, maybe he's thinking, hey, I'm a 60 goal scorer. And sometimes that gets in your head, and then you don't do the work to get there. Thanks, Danny, for joining. Please hit the likes. I agree. That would be great. Later, Danny. Are you wearing camo over Hawaiian shirt? I am. These are both bathing ape. Tampa Bay is starting to show a wear and tear of 3 years. I don't dispute that. But I think they're pacing themselves. I don't think they're too worried. They're kind of in the mix in that group. And I think eventually they're gonna leapfrog everybody. Thank you. This shirt's interesting because it's the intelligent ape. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the sophisticated monkeys, which is what we are, sophisticated monkeys. Lots of hockey adding up for the Bolts. Yeah, 3 trips to the finals. At 4? How many times have they been to the finals? At 3 in a row, or is it 4? They won 2. So I think it was 3. Kind of crazy. All right, tomorrow, NHL game, Detroit versus Boston, 7 p.m. This is correct. Thanks, RJ, for jumping on this. Are you surprised with Boston's strong start? Well, I think the fact that Bergeron and Krejci are in, that's really obviously helped. Taylor Hall's played very well. Swayman has not played well, which I would not have predicted. I think at some point he'll turn that around. You knew Jim Montgomery, this is a big deal for him, right? The way he exited Dallas, got a second chance, came out around his own alcoholism problems, and he's an interesting character. When we saw him at the NHL coaches clinic, he gave the shortest presentation. He was slotted 60 minutes to teach people the power play. He literally used 3 minutes and walked off the stage. So you guys know this, and let everybody walk off. He's a different character, but he knows his stuff. And you got to think that that's a big reason. This redemption story is a big deal. Calgary looks better than last year. I was just looking at this last night, and Kadri got his 4th goal of the season. So, that I was I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You know, that he might be frozen here. Oh, man, what's going on? Okay, am I back? Oh, my goodness. Let's see if we can share that again. Kadri last night. So we were talking about Nazem Kadri. And if you look, I think he got his 4th goal last night for Calgary. And they won 4-1. So Daryl Sutter proving me wrong from 2 years ago. I mean, I think he proved that last year, Coach of the Year for a reason. Kadri gets goals 3 and 4. You know, he's a big reason why this start is happening. And Huberdeau gets his first last night, so that's good news. Malkin, by the way, guys, 4 goals on the season, 7 points. So don't count him out. Jeff Carter gets his 4th. You know, this team, Casey DeSmith is the backup, didn't have an amazing game, but I think that's because Calgary is so dialed in. I mean, this is a team that just plays the right way. They're getting great goaltending, and they got offensive weapons. So I don't know. They're looking really good. I think Edmonton's had a less than stellar start, and they've been better than Edmonton. Please hit the likes and subscribers. I appreciate that. Thanks. Talk to you later, Marco. Have a great day. ENORTAP, thank you for joining as well. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you to everyone that's joined. Tomorrow night, Boston versus Detroit. This is the matchup. Who do you got? We've seen some crazy scores in there, like 6-3 and 5-1. We saw one, which was Clom Sauce, predicting, yeah, Calgary is solid winger away from Cup, possibly. I can't dispute that. What's interesting is they're so deep on defense. They give up Juuso Valimaki, who I was very high on. Like, I think this guy's a top 4 in the NHL on a lot of teams, and he's played very well in Arizona, who got him for like nothing. Like, what a steal for Arizona, who, by the way, has played better of late. That's how deep they are in defense, and that's a big part of the story. And they just play like a junkyard style. Like, I don't even think Mangiapane's like hit his stride yet. So I think you're gonna see. You might be right. Like, but maybe it'll be more internal, or maybe it's a Coleman or Mangiapane that really keep picking up their play. And maybe they do need another winger. But man, Calgary looks great. All right, big matchup. This will be a real test for Detroit. I don't think that they played great against New Jersey. Let's see what Husso, I'm assuming, will start the next game. Will it be Swayman, or will it be Linus Ullmark, who's been taking the bulk of the load? That'll be interesting. I don't know if that's been announced. Thank you so much to everybody that's joined. We're going to wrap this up, and we will have a Friday update where this Friday will not be a live. So I think what Coach and I said is we'll do. I'm going to try a quick Detroit Red Wings update on Fridays. So Monday and Wednesday you can check in at this time for the live. Thanks, Jose, for joining. Hoffman to Calgary would work. Oh no, please don't. You just want to get rid of him. I don't think that would work. Can Daryl Sutter reform Mike Hoffman? I don't know, man. He's got talent. He can score. I don't know. I'm not in love with that. We'll see. Imagine Patrick Kane to Calgary. What if Patrick Kane went to Calgary? But if Chicago keeps playing the way they are, they might be in the playoffs. You just never know. All right, everybody, have a wonderful Wednesday, and we will talk to you on Friday.